From cassettes to colossal-sized walls, April was an absolutely fantastic month for indie games. So much so that I have no problem choosing the 5 that I'm about to present to you. Now let's get right into it. It's what I wish I could say, but alas, I gotta talk to you real quick. And totally not just to buy time for the extra game playing in the background to have time to win your hearts. This video has chapters, so feel free to skip through it. Don't mind the deep emotional pain and anguish the viewer retention chart will cause me later. Nah, don't worry about that. Also, it's important to remember that no game is really a must-play, as tastes vary and no one game is universal. So that being said, these are my personal favorite picks of the month, with some lesser-known titles mixed in there, and all of them from different genres, so hopefully there should be something for you there. Alright, I think I've spoken for long enough to let this extra game in the intro play for a little bit, so now let's get into it. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are so 2022. You know what's all the rage now? Cassette beasts. Now, I'm aware some of you watching this video may not even know what a cassette is, but if you're one of those people, please just keep that fact to yourself so you don't hurt my fragile ego by making me feel extremely old. This game is easily my favorite in this list, which is not to discredit the others, mind you. They are all fantastic. It's just that April really was that good of a month for indie games. Cassette Beasts is the latest entry in the monster collecting genre, in which the actual player turns into the monster during battles. Digimon Frontiers, anyone? There are just over 120 monsters in the decks. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Aw, I wish there were more. Here's the good news. Battles are a 2v2 and your monster can fuse with your partner to become a whole new cassette beast. Not only that, but all fusions have unique designs that mix both of the visuals that were combined, along with providing both movesets in one neat list. And I can safely say that I have not seen a single bad design, neither for monsters nor fusions. Well, except for this thing. This thing looks like an astral anus and behaves like one too, so screw this thing. But you know, it's the exception that proves the rule, I guess. The battles are surprisingly in-depth too. Types actually interact with each other in a really interesting way. For example, if you use a water-type move on a fire-type monster, you extinguish it, lowering its attack. There are multiple interactions and they all make sense and are really interesting. That aside, the game has a really intriguing storyline, it has a cool, massive world to explore, an absolutely amazing soundtrack, and enough content to keep you hooked for 15 to 20 hours. So honestly, if you like the genre, you can't go wrong with this. Once upon a time, as a pre-scene, I only managed to fall asleep with my TV on. My favorite channel was Nickelodeon back then, and almost on a daily basis I'd be woken up at 6 AM by freaking Dora the Explorer telling me to say something with her.
You have to say math!
I would always ignore her out of spite, but of course she never cared. But Amanda, Amanda does.
I'm wasting my time and I'm running out of patience.
This game has finally given me the opportunity to fulfill my lifelong dream of going against these kids' cartoons and actually get a reaction out of them. Do not be fooled by the cute visuals of this game. This is a horror game through and through. The gameplay loop is fairly simple. You play episodes of the Amanda Their Adventure tapes, and things change around you, as in the real world. Spooky, right? While watching tapes, Amanda will ask you questions that you must answer. You can, of course, answer wrong and get a rise out of her, who gets progressively more pissed off. And in fact, many secrets are hidden like this, and trust me, the game has quite a few. In the real world, on the other hand, you solve puzzles to unlock more tapes. The game is not long. You can get an ending within 30 minutes. But do note that I said an ending, implying there are more. And rejoice, there are. You can get around 5 or so endings with 6 secret tapes hidden in super secret locations that give you extra secret content. So many secrets! You will be replaying the game a lot due to how this works, but don't worry, you get shortcuts that help you skip what you've already done. If you want to know more, I did a full review of Amanda the Adventurer on the channel. And whatever you do, remember, protect Wooly at all costs. You can pet the dog. Pretty sure that's all I need to say about the game to convince you to buy it. So, moving on. Wait, you need more info? Fine by me. I love this game, so I will gladly welcome any opportunity to talk about it. We all have negative thoughts every once in a while, right? I know I can't hear your answer, but I'll just pretend you said yes so I don't feel alone in this anguish. Since it's something we all 100% most definitely go through a lot, Unwording is absolutely a game that makes everyone feel right at home. It's all about identifying and fighting these negative thought patterns via a cute little 1 hour long story and great word puzzles. Honestly, this game is a delight. You play a Storm, a guy who's just living. His mind has been overtaken by negative self-talk, and it's up to you and a cute little bird to rescue him. Throughout the game, you see his perspective changing, which is brilliantly demonstrated by lots of in-game elements such as the change from 2D to eventually a 3D title, as well as puzzle types and even the art style. The visuals are all incredible, the soundtrack is pretty good, and the puzzles manage to remain interesting throughout, even if not super challenging. If you're up for a cheap and contemplative hour-long journey, then go get this awesome game. The developer really deserves the support, especially because he is genuinely one of the most caring devs I've seen. Like, seriously, his games are mostly about contemplative journeys to help the player, and in this one, he even has a page of resources set up to help you get out of your negative thought patterns. If you want to know more about the game, check out my review on it, link is in the description of the video. Alright, now I'm moving on, but you really only should after checking out Unwording for yourself on Steam. If, like me, you basically nuts as soon as you hear someone say the words roguelike deck builder, then you need to check out the newest addition to the genre right now. Wild Frost is incredibly charming and, yes, pretty difficult too. Much like in Slay the Spire, you will be spending most of your time in combat. You get one leader that you can choose out of 3 options in the beginning of each run. Each leader has its own stats such as attack, health, and even special skills like poisoning after a hit or hitting all enemies at once. Then, throughout the run, you can also acquire companions, which are basically less, or more in some cases, powerful units. All of these are cards you can and must put on the field. Every battle starts with a leader. Once you put them in the field, you get to draw your hand of 6 cards, which may include the companions that also go on the field. Naturally, if you lose your leader, the run is over. Once the battle starts, almost every card you play uses a turn. You can play attacks, support cards, etc., all of which directly affect the units on the field, such as healing or damaging them. Meanwhile, these units also charge up their own attacks and use them automatically. Each unit has a different number of turns required to charge up. This is also how the enemies attack. That's basically how the combat works, in the nutshellest of all nutshells, but don't be mistaken. It gets wildly complex and interesting. With multiple lanes to position your characters in, abilities that affect units in specific positions, attacks that target specific units, and many other details, you will always be entertained trying to figure out your next move. If you lose your run, you get to tally up your results, which may end up completing challenges for you. These challenges, such as killing 100 enemies throughout all your runs, unlock new features back at your town, basically the hub in between runs. From there, you can unlock new companions, new charms to upgrade your cards, and even new factions that give you new leaders and entirely new decks to choose from. And once you do get into a run and are not in a fight, you get to choose your path via nodes. Again, much like in Slay the Spire. Honestly, there is a lot to this game. If you're a fan of the genre, this one is a must. Have you ever wondered what it's like to live on massive walls? No? Well, too bad, because you got to find out whether you like it or not. World is a roguelite game in which you try to reach the edges of the massive wall society calls home. Nobody who tries ever comes back, so there's gotta be something there, right? But the journey will be tough. So tough, in fact, that you will die multiple times and have to pay for upgrades to your kick-ass Spider-Mech in between runs to eventually make it to the end. Maybe. Hopefully. The runs work like this. You basically can take your spider to predetermined spots on your vertical wall and drill into them. Your character then exits the spider and mines for resources. Some of those are the permanent currency, but most are just used in your run to upgrade your weaponry and such. This is vital because it allows you to stay alive, which is, you know, just a teeny tiny bit important. You can also find upgrades and new weaponry within these mines. Throughout your time mining, 2 counters will, well, count. Shocker, I know. One ends every minute or so and another ends after 20 minutes. Once the minute-long counter is almost done, you should hurry back to your spider because it's about to get attacked by a wave of aliens. Your job is to then defend it by using weapons to kill attackers. I tried inviting them for tea, but yeah, they're not interested, so violence really is the only option, unfortunately.
Mother, I crave violence.
But the 20-minute timer is the real problem. Once that's done, you get attacked by a boss and you have to fend that off. I hope you like Tentacles. World is genuinely a great game in the vein of Dawnkeeper if you've played that. And if you haven't, well, now you have 2 new games to play. Oh, and if you want to know more about World, I have a review of it in the channel. I'll link it down below. And that's it for this month's list. I hope you enjoyed it and that you find something new to play. If you haven't, however, or if you just want even more suggestions, feel free to ask me for specific genres in the comments. I played quite a few games this month, so I might just be able to recommend something. Might. Don't hold me to it, but who knows? It's worth a shot, right? But these were genuinely the 5 plus 2 extras in the intro and the outro that I enjoyed the most this month. If this video did end up being useful to you, I hope you'll consider leaving a like and subscribing, as both actions really help out the channel. And let me know down below what you think of the suggestions. That aside, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Bye bye!